Hey everyone, I'm going to show you a traveler's notebook page that I've made using some mixed media. Now I'm just cutting down my cardstock so that it could fit into the notebook. I didn't want to go directly into the notebook because I didn't want to gesso it and, mask the the seam or anything like that. So just cut some cardstock and I'll glue it in or, stick it in when I'm finished. I'm just using some washi tape to join these two pages just because I wanted it to continue across. And I'm using the first layout I did with these June Kitaholic kits to inspire, or actually it's pretty much the background is a direct scrap lift. So just using the darkroom door stencil that we got and just pushing through some modelling paste using my spatula. I am getting some of the words on purpose and others I'm doing a bit more haphazardly. I'm sort of going with across the whole width of the paper and then down a little through to the middle into a more of a point. So you can see here, just positioning that to make sure. I'm going to dry it. I should have probably dried it some more, but that's just me and I never bother. It's going to spray straight on it, but I don't like the overspray I get when I do that. So instead I'm going to loosely do the packaging technique because the modelling paste isn't dry. I couldn't get too much into it, but I'm just going to add some water and spread that colour around. Now this is the Distress Oxide sprays so that it does react with the water and make a different colour, which is really nice. And just, like you've seen, use the water to spread the colour around. And using my finger to get it to the edges of the modelling paste. I wanted all that modelling paste to be covered and have it going from edge to edge and then, as I said before, down into the middle. So just clearing that off. I do use the baby wipe here to clean off that bit. Just use it not roughly but over and over enough to pull up the colour so that it's not as bold. And same here, it was getting a bit too full on. I do have some overspray up the top there that you probably can't even see on video, but I just wanted to keep it in to show you that if you are careful with a baby wipe that you can get most of it off so that it's not as obvious. So just going to add some colour here. I was going to spray but just opened it and tipped it on instead. Just wanted a bit darker because I had spread it out so much with water. And on it goes. I have found when using the Distress Oxides, if you don't shake them to begin with, you get the colours are split, so you get a few different tones of the colour going onto your page, which is nice. Obviously they're Distress Oxides, so if you add some water, they give some different colours. You can do this technique where you add the water splatters and then dry them up and it will pull up some of the colour. And you can do here where I'm pulling the nozzle just to drip some colours on as well, which will give that darkness. The other thing I've found is if you use your heat gun to dry it as like this, the colour will stay a bit better. If you don't want the colour as much, you can use a paper towel and sop up that colour. I'm going to use a tiny little photo here, really cute. I'm going to just border it with some white cardstock just as the first layer, and then I will use some of the blues that are in the June Kitaholic kits, which is full of awesome Wolfpack and Emerson Lane from Heidi Swap. My photo wasn't stuck down properly, of course, because I only put one piece in the middle. So instead I have to go back and just put them down. I think it was bothering me that the flaps on the side were coming up. Sometimes it's not as obvious, I think, or maybe just I placed the tape better. Who knows? But on it goes some layers, and I'm just going to have a play with them. This one was the bottom 3 sides, and then the next one will be the top 3 sides, as I often do, counteract those ones. I always usually do a first layer with all 4 sides done, and then I play with it from there. Don't usually do like four sides every time. But I was editing a video the other day and I did it and I was like, oh, I didn't remember doing that. Often I say I never do that, so I can't say that because obviously I do. Anyway, moving on, I just wanted to pull out some of the Project Life and Traveler's Notebook pages in the colours that I'm using on this page. So those blues and deeper greeny tones. So just going to stick it on and then cut it out. Sometimes I like to cut out the paper before I layer it. Other times I like to see how it sits on the paper. It kind of just depends on the photo and the layers I'm going for. Sometimes I can estimate the size a bit better. Other times I want it, like so thin and so small that I have to glue it like this and then have a play. It's taken too long, so I use the paper towel, but you can see because I use the heat gun, some of the colour is a bit brighter. So I'm going to commit to my photo down here on this bottom corner, and then I'm going to work out the title and some embellishments. Now on the original layout that I made, that I have scrap lifted this from earlier in June, I just have a small, actually a bigger 3 photos in the middle with some embellishments to the left and to the right. But because it was Traveller's Notebook, I didn't want to put the photo in the middle. I have to remember that this paper is going to be cut down to fit here in this notebook, which is why I've stuck it on top here, just so that I could see how it sits. So I'm going to pull in these thickers. I'm going to use this one that says Sweet. I figured I could get that bird because it looks like it'll sit nicely if we go for a little bit of a diagonal look to the design. And I pull in this heart there as a layering piece, but I don't believe that stays at all. No, it doesn't. Just it's been a week or two since I've done this layout, and even I edited it on the weekend and it's Wednesday. So isn't it funny how you don't always remember what you've done even when you know you've done it and you're looking at it. So I'm going to add this little exclusive embellishment here from the kits. So if you are looking to purchase your Kitaholic kits, definitely check out the link below and get your hat in the ring, because they seem to be selling out quite quickly each month, and we're having some really awesome kits and we get a massive amount of goodies. So it's always nice to have that coming to your doorstep and not having to think about what goes together. Steph does that work and she does it so well. So just going through the ephemera, the words actually. So there's some stickers, there's some ephemera, there's also some exclusive ephemera. Now for June I only got the main kit, the mixed media kit and the paper add-on kit. So I don't have the wide range that I normally have when I get all 5 kits, but that was a nice challenge for this month. And if you want to check out how many I make, how many projects I make, because I end up making over 10 projects with just those kits. So basically just the main kit with double paper. Definitely check out, I'm going to have a killer kit video, so subscribe so that you can get notified when that happens. It'll be up in the next few days, or the next week or so, as the month is ending. So I pulled into my stash and I pulled out these thickers that I've spelt out boy, and I pulled them out, one because they weren't overwhelming, but 2 because they had a line down the middle of them, look like a pen line, like these puffy sweet word. They've got the outline around the edges, but instead I end up using my paint pen and painting them black so that they are a bit more neutral. I just didn't like the way they were going. Now, even though I put them up there and I looked quite committed, I glue them down here. I work on sticking the rest of the things down, and then I move it straight back up to the top where it originally was anyway. So just playing around with my title. Does anyone else do that? Have an idea, then you stray back to what, a different idea or what you originally thought, and then you just go back to the idea that you should have stayed with at the beginning. I tend to do it a little bit indeed. So I'm just pulling it off. I'm just going to wipe that glue that's down the bottom off with my fingers. There's not too much, and it's the the Tombow Aqua glue anyway, so it's not like you see it so badly, but I will cover it up anyway, just because the design goes a bit wild. Now I pulled out the black pen. I didn't like the way the blue was. I've just done an outline. I didn't like that, so instead I do go in and colour them fully in black. I'm going to add some of these Kaisercraft bling that I've pulled from my stash, just so I could have some enamel dots in the kit. So put them in 2 spots, and I really like how simple this Traveller's Notebook layout ends up. I tend to do that anyway. I guess traveller's notebooks, they tend to be, they're one way or the other, I think. They go to the extreme. They're either, you know, simple and lots of lovely white space, or it's the whole page is full and, you know, it works. But it's funny how it is like that. I guess scrapbooking layouts are like that as well, aren't they? They can be full on and have all the things, and other times they just have a few things, and they both look really well. Just works for whatever supplies and design and photo you've got happening. So on that goes, I do consider thinking about pulling out the same thickers and putting the whole title so that it's the same, but instead I leave it like that. I'm just showing you that I just put down some tape on the edges, and then I start from the middle and then stick it down. I think starting from the middle means that you can, if there's anything extra, you can cut it off the sides of the paper, rather than if it's extra in the middle, it's very hard to cut down paper from the middle of the insert. But by all means, have a try if you want. But that's my little tip from me to you. So I'm just going to add some splatters up there. I don't know why. I think I was looking for more little ones, but just got a bit crazy, and then I try to add more to balance it out, and it just was not necessary at all. So instead I mop them up and try and lighten them a bit, and I smudge them and make them bigger. So I pull out my blue gel pen and I use them as my journaling spots on the top and the bottom. Now here, even on the left side, I have not cut my paper wide enough, so I do have a little strip down the side, the left side there of my traveller's notebook that is visible, not covered by this cardstock layout, which is a bit crazy of me. But anyway, here's the end of the video. You'll see some close-ups, and I'll catch you next video. See you guys. Bye.